Hello. How we doing? Welcome back. If this is not your first time, if it is your first time, welcome for the first time. My name is Keith. I am the meditation instructor, teacher person on this channel, Meditation Breaks. And this channel is all about learning meditation and learning how to incorporate some of the concepts that we can discover through meditation, incorporating those out in our real life, right? Because formally meditating in the kind of traditional sense of sitting down with our eyes closed isn't always possible for us. We have busy lives, and there's not a lot of free time, usually for people. Great news, though, don't need to sit down traditionally and close your eyes and focus on your breath for you to practice meditation. So that's all to say on this channel. We kind of look at a lot of different topics and a lot of different styles and try to widen the definition of what we might consider to be a meditation practice, right? So it fits into your life the way you want it to. Okay, so every week we have a topic. This week our topic is about anxiety and choice. And you might be saying, well, wait a minute, I don't know anything about meditation. I'm not ready for topics. How about the topic of what is meditation? If you are brand new, do not worry. I always start each session with an introduction to what meditation is. And for those that have been coming a while, you're probably tired of hearing me say it. But it's, I think it's a really important point to start each session with kind of the baseline of what we're trying to do with meditation, what it is, how it works, all those questions you might have if you're new. Even if you're a veteran of meditation, it's really good to kind of bake this idea into our mind, because our definition of what qualifies as meditation is actually pretty narrow for most of us, right? Hey, Linda. Hey, Patricia, Norma, Eso, Lucia. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Our definition of meditation is fairly narrow. And even if you've never meditated before, if I say, oh, picture somebody meditating, I kind of have an idea what you're thinking, It's somebody sitting cross-legged on a floor, their eyes are closed, their hands are like this. They are looking relaxed. That's it. I mean, I don't want to say it all the time, but it's actually true. Like the other day, I always say, if you Google meditation, like they just countless images of that. And the other day, I'm like, oh, I better just make sure that that's true. It's true. Just absolute endless pages of that exact same thing, seated position, sitting on the floor, right? This is a way to meditate. You can meditate sitting on the floor with your eyes closed, etc. But that is not meditation. Like, that's not the essence of it. Meditation is, in my opinion, not tied to a seating position. Right? It's not tied to doing it at a time of day. It's not tied to doing it in a specific place, right? Meditation is extremely flexible, right? Which is great, because as I become older, I'm becoming inflexible, and sitting on the floor is becoming less easy. So what is a good definition for meditation? Here on this channel, I like to put forth the idea of meditation being a technique that you can use to become really familiar with something. And this idea of becoming familiar with things is something you are an expert in. because you do it all the time. Even if we don't realize it, our mind is constantly becoming familiar with things, right? Familiar with how to go to the grocery store, our local grocery store, familiar with which traffic lights take forever. I'm gonna have to wait here. I know I'm familiar with this old traffic light. So all these things, essentially anything we've ever learned in our life, walking, talking, brushing our teeth, literally anything, is impacted mightily by familiarity. The output of familiarity, whether it's mental familiarity, which is kind of what we talk about in meditation, or physical, which is a little bit easier for us to kind of wrap our head around, like, running a race or something like that. The output is the same. And that output is the more familiar you are with the thing, the activity, the emotion, the thought, whatever it is, the language, the brushing of the teeth, whatever it is, the more familiar you are with it, the less energy it takes for it to come to be, for less concentration it takes to do it, the less, it's like second nature. You use like that kind of colloquial phrase, second nature, right? The more familiar we are with something, it starts to just come to us naturally, right? So, if we think about something that is very top of mind when people are learning meditation, relaxation is the number one entry point to be more relaxed. We meditate. Let's say we have a good meditation or whatever, find a cool teacher, and we have a great experience, and we're like, man, amazing. Meditation relaxes me. I found it. And we can think that this thing, meditation, this activity, equals relaxation. But meditation does not relax you in the sense of like creating relaxation for you. What meditation does is teach you to become so familiar with relaxed you, that version of yourself that is relaxed, it exists, it does. Become so familiar with that version of yourself that what happens? The output of familiarity takes shape. The more familiar you are with relaxed you, the more regularly relaxed you shows up. It starts to become your default. It starts to be second nature. And so when we're thinking about meditation at like a grand scale, I think it's helpful to, it's almost like synonymous with this concept of familiarity. And this thing, familiarity, is our superpower, right? Animals can become familiar with stuff, right? Insects can become familiar with stuff, but we have a special advantage as humans, right? Because our familiarity has choice, which is something we're going to talk about a lot today. We can choose what we want to familiarize our mind with. We can choose what we want to familiarize our mind with to the point that those things start to become our default. It starts to become our reality. And this is a really kind of empowering way to think about meditation. It is an avenue for choice. And it is a way for you to start to decide what kind of things do you want to come naturally to you? Do you want to have it be as easy to be patient as it is to get super annoyed, right? Pretty easy to get super annoyed. We don't ever have to like stop and try. It just happens, right? Because our mind is familiar with it, right? So that is what we are after here with meditation. And already we can see that the definition of meditation really is expanding beyond sitting down and like, oh, relaxing, right? Because we can become familiar with a lot of stuff, and that makes meditation extremely versatile wellness tool for us. All right, so great, sounds wonderful. How do we do it? So whenever you encounter meditation for the first time, almost always it is breathing meditation. Breathing meditation is a meditation where the focal point is your breath. And all meditations follow the same kind of principles, regardless of what the focal point is, right? So we're going to do breathing meditation together. The focal point is our breath, but your focal point can be really whatever you want. It can be movement based. It can be thinking about a thing that annoyed you at work or something like that. Like it could be like using your imagination to, like, I don't know, place yourself at the beach. I don't know, do whatever you want. Meditation, no matter what we're doing with it, follows the same steps. And overall, what like the kind of like action of meditation is something called single pointed concentration, which is exactly what it sounds like. We're focusing on one thing. Now, you and I and everyone else is way more familiar with focusing on a lot of things at once. Multitasking, if you will. Even if we don't consider ourselves to be a good multitasker, we multitask all the time. I just moved my fingers while talking. And then after doing so, I'm like, oh, I can use that in my mind. I didn't say this out loud, but I'm like, oh, I can use that as an example. And then now I'm in an endless loop of that. But our mind is just constantly juggling. Right? Think about this. What was that? What was that noise? Oh, I have an itch here. Oh, no, there's a thing I have to do. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, what should I eat? I don't really feel like having anything. This is our mind is completely all over the place, right? Because our mind is used to doing this. And it has its benefits, right? It's very good for getting worldly tasks done. Not great for being super, chill while doing it. And so with meditation, what we're doing is making a choice to focus single-pointedly on something, with the goal of focusing so exclusively on this thing that all the other thoughts that our mind is juggling, all the other bowling pins that our mind is juggling, right? They're going to kind of fade into the background. And as a result, we now have all of this space in our mind to dedicate to focusing on this one thing. And if you think about how powerful our mind is, jumping from stuff to stuff, like, well, damn, imagine if we just put all of that power into one thing, like a big ray beam, into that one thought. So that's what we're going to do. The steps of meditation are as follows. Number 1, you are going to choose to focus single-pointedly on something. In this case, we're doing breathing meditation, so that something is our breath. But again, it can be anything you want. We're setting an intention, because sometimes you and I have meditative experiences without even trying. You've ever been in the zone, working at something really diligently, lose track of time, or you don't hear somebody call your name or something like that. We're so single-pointedly focused on something that all the other things our mind is usually watching out for fade a bit. Right? But we want to teach our mind that it can do this intentionally. And so we're setting an intention. All that is just saying something like, to ourselves, like, for the next couple of minutes, I'm going to focus exclusively on my breath, and that's it. Right? That's our little intention setting activity. We kind of let that sit with us. And then step 2 is we act on it, right? We begin to focus single pointedly on our own breath. And whenever you notice that your mind is starting to pick up those other bowling pins, it's like, yeah, you know what? I gotta start juggling again. Maybe you're thinking about something that happened earlier today, or something that you have to do after the class ends, or whatnot, whatever it is. Whenever you notice your mind drifts in that way, we're going to say not right now. That's our catchphrase here, not right now. Because those thoughts are not bad. They're not intrusive. They're not unwanted. They're not wrong. They're not bad, or whatever, all these things that we label them as. They're just thoughts. Our mind thinks, just not now. And so when we notice our mind drifting, no longer single pointedly focused, we're going to place those thoughts beside us. And then the final step, we bring our attention back to breathing. Choose to focus single pointedly on our own breath. Notice when our attention drifts, bring our attention back. And those 3 steps are the steps of a meditation, no matter what your focal point is. Cool? Okay. So let's do some breathing meditation together. You'll notice I'm not sitting on the floor. I'm in a chair. You too can be in a chair. You can lay down. You can stand up. You can sit on the floor. Do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Just try to be relatively comfortable. Don't have to be so comfortable that you're going to pass out. Oh, this chair is incredible. But we don't want to be uncomfortable, because then what happens? Our mind is like, it's already just distracted. And you can go ahead and close your eyes. That'll help with some of the visual, our tendency for visual distraction. And I'm going to guide us through about a 5-minute breathing meditation. Okay. Whenever we start a meditation, take a moment and check in with yourself. Actually ask, how am I feeling right now? What's your mind up to? Maybe your mind is feeling tired after a long day. Or maybe your mind is feeling energetic or excited. Happy, sad, whatever it is. We're not trying to change anything. There's nothing to change. We're just noticing. We're practicing being an observer of our own thoughts. This is a technique called mindfulness. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts moment to moment, for the very specific purpose of being able to respond skillfully to those thoughts. And mindfulness is the launchpad of being able to choose what we want our mind to be familiar with. So take a moment and check in. Having done that, you can now make a promise to yourself, a wish, an intention. And that wish, that intention, is for the next few minutes to focus exclusively, single pointedly, on your own breath to the best of your ability. That is your only task. all the other things can wait. All the other thoughts, all the other plans, all the other feelings. We'll get to them later. Right now, just you and your breath. And with that intention set, that promise made, you can act on it. Turn your full attention to your own breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Very gently, very naturally. You don't need to change anything about how you breathe. No need for big, deep inhales or forcefully exhaling air. Just breathe how you normally do. In and out. At some point while you're doing this, often rather quickly, you may notice your mind starting to drift, returning to its tendency to multitask. Maybe you're thinking about something that happened earlier today, or something you have to do later, or tomorrow. Whenever you notice your mind is drifting in this manner, we can just say, not right now, to those thoughts. We'll get to them later. Actually imagine yourself picking up those thoughts, placing them beside you. And with those thoughts beside you, we can give them a little wave. We'll get to you later. And then we can actively choose to turn your attention back to breathing in and out, gently, naturally. Single-pointedly focused on each moment of each breath. Each and every day you breathe countless times. And of those countless times, few, if any, are we dedicating our full attention to breathing. What if we do? What if we actually plug into our breath, single-pointedly focus on each moment of breathing? What might we find? Every time you inhale, I want you to imagine, watch that air as it is pulled gently from the atmosphere into your body. Feel that air enter your body. Visualize it moving through you, settling into your lungs, your chest expanding to make room. Feel your shoulders rise, your body accommodating this air. This is what breathing in feels like. How wonderful. What about when you breathe outward? Can you feel your shoulders descend? Feel your chest contract. Can you watch as that air moves back through your body? Exiting your body. Watch that air as it mixes back in with all the other pockets of air in the atmosphere. Watch it slowly dissipate until we can no longer see that single pocket of air any longer. This is what breathing out feels like. How wonderful. When we choose to focus single pointedly on something, we'll often find some hidden subtleties, some hidden joys of that activity. Right now, you're learning to find some subtle interests, subtle joys in breathing. Something you do all the time is imbued with joy and interest, curiosity. If you can find these amazing things in something as simple as your own breath, imagine where else in your life you can find it. Breathing in, breathing out, very gently, very naturally. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath as many times as you need to. This cycle of choosing to focus on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts from that, being able to bring your attention back, that is meditation. You are meditating right now. You are training your mind. Training your mind to focus on what you want to focus on. And right now, for the last few moments, the only thing you want to focus on is breathing in and breathing out. Just for the last few moments, just enjoy sitting here, relaxing, just you and your breath. No reason to analyze or think. Just exist. Take a little time for you. Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Hello. Welcome back. Congrats. You're a meditator. You did it. Not so bad, right? So that was breathing meditation, and just one very traditional style of it. Probably one of two things happened. One, you're like, oh, hey, that wasn't so bad. Or two, you're like, whoa, the heck am my mind so busy for? And if you noticed, if you were in the what is my mind so busy for camp, welcome. We're happy to have you. You are just noticing what your mind is like all day long. Right? Left to its own devices, your mind jumps from thing to thing. And we don't really pay much mind to it. We don't pay much attention to it. And so when we start learning meditation and we start actively focusing on one thing instead of the default of a million, it can be pretty jarring. And we can even think like, wham, I'm almost like, my mind's like busier when I do this. Right? You're just noticing how busy your mind is all day. I don't know about you, but I do not want that many things to do in a day. Like, can you imagine if your workday was your mind's workday? There's no breaks for your mind, it's just constant. And so this kind of activity of focusing single pointedly on something, we can use it to do so many things. And also we can use it to just give our mind a freaking break. Gail, wake up. Okay, so that's breathing meditation. If you have any questions on that, feel free to ask. I'm going to move on to our topic for today. And this is, it's kind of like a hybrid of two things that we talk about quite often on this channel. So if relaxation is the number one entry point into old meditation land, number two is anxiety. And that is how I got into meditation many years ago. As a wish to have it help with anxiety, right? And so today's kind of theme is around anxiety and its connection with choice. And this idea of choice is something that is extremely common to talk about in meditation. If you have been coming here at all, even for 3 classes, you've probably heard me talk about the idea of choice and uncertainty and how we as people kind of want certainty and how that plays into our mind state, right? So these two things are very intimately connected, right? And just kind of like quick overview of uncertainty, right? And when I say that, I don't mean like, oh, I don't know what the weather is going to be like. Like, I mean, that is uncertainty, right? But like, we try to find certainty in all things that we do, even in ways that we don't really realize we are doing them. I am not demonizing to-do lists. To-do lists are amazing. As someone who is not great at making to-do lists, I wish I was better at them so I could be organized. But to-do list is an example of trying to find certainty, right? When we're making a to-do list, I wake up and let's see, I'm going to wake up and this is me writing. wake up, and then I'm going to have a coffee at 8. Then I'm going to get in my car and drive to work at 8:30. That should give me enough time to get there without any traffic. I'll get to work at 9. Then I'll work, like, whatever. I know what to do. That's a very long form to-do list. But the idea is we are kind of like establishing, here are the things that I need to happen in order for today to be productive, awesome, great, whatever. And anyone who's ever tried to make an itinerary knows that some things don't go as planned. And, we pour our cup of coffee and we spill it on ourselves. Oh, no, our shirt's all ruined and we got to go change. And now we're not getting out the door till 8:45. And so, like, our day is already, kind of messed up. That's how we think. The desire for certainty in our day, in our life, comes from an aversion to uncertainty, right? To not knowing. And not knowing for sure about something is a way, to think about anxiety, right? When we're anxious, we are very much in the what if kind of realm of thinking. Well, what if I make the wrong choice here? Oh, what if I have 2 job offers? What if I take this one? Is that the right one? Over here, is that the right one? Right. No matter what we do in our day, we are faced with choice. We are faced with uncertainty. And so it's no surprise that anxiety is something that is also very prevalent in our life, in our day, something that we are faced with. And the idea of uncertainty and choice and our kind of like wish to know, right? That is in direct contrast with how the kind of like how generally the world exists, right? We do not know if we will get to work at 9. We can try. I can leave 3 hours early if I wanted to. You know what? I don't know. I could get into a car accident and then I get hurt my neck and I have to go to the hospital. Like, there is no guarantees, right? We can kind of try to figure out best possible, solution for us right now. But at the end of the day, uncertainty is baked into our life, right? And so the more we fight that, the more anxiety is baked into our life. And I don't know about you, but I don't really particularly care being anxious. It doesn't feel great. And so today, I want to look at the kind of steps of what your mind is going through when it's going from totally fine and chill to anxious. And while we're doing this, kind of keep in mind the idea of our wish for certainty, our wish for choice. Our wish for like essentially not having choice. Our kind of desire to know. And I think that'll make more sense when we kind of get into it. Cool? Okay. So, you're totally fine right now, even if you're not. In this hypothetical scenario, we're fine. What's the first thing, the first step of becoming anxious? You ever think of that? It has to start somewhere, right? We're fine and then we're not fine. The first step is contact. I'll call contact. We come into contact with something, and that doesn't necessarily mean something physically. It can be a thought. We come into contact with a thought, a memory, a sensation, or something physical, right? A person or whatnot, right? This is the first step, and it is pretty unavoidable. And I'm going to move on from this step, but spoilers, this is where a lot of our kind of topic today is going to be focused on, because this stage, coming into contact with something, it's like deceptive in terms of how it remedies our anxious feelings, right? So we come into contact with something, and then our mind goes through its Rolodex. Dating myself a little bit. Rolodex is before we had our super awesome cell phones with everyone's contact information. It was essentially that, but like actual physical pieces of paper that you would roll through. Maybe that's why they call it that. So this step is labeling, right? We come into contact with something, and then our mind labels it. So I come into contact with an itch, which for me is a big point of anxiety in my life. That's just what I'm dealing with. So I have an itch on my knee, right? The first time that I come into contact with an itch, it's not in my Rolodex. And so my mind is like, yeah, I'm going to add this to the old Rolodex. It's whatever. That's like how my mind thinks about an itch, right? But the next time I come, it's like, oh, Rolodex. It's in there, itch. And over time, I'm like, oh, that's kind of annoying. Itching's annoying. Itching's annoying. I don't like itching at all. Like itching's bad. Itching is awful. And now my mind is so far labeled itching as not enjoyable, like negative, that whenever my mind thinks of itching, immediately it's like, oh, bad. And for me, who has like a phobia about it, is like, oh, I can't believe this is happening again. Like, when this is going to go away, right? Anxiety. So we come into contact with something, our mind labels this thing as good or bad. And then we go into the exaggeration phase, the what ifs, the ruminating. Oh, what if I'm itchy forever? What if this means I have a skin condition? Right? I'm just using that. But, anything that we become worried about, there is this moment where we're starting to kind of almost exaggerate what the outcomes, right? Exaggerate the outcomes of each choice. What if I do this instead of this? What if I do this instead of this? This could be really bad if it goes that way, but then this could be really good, right? We start to do this kind of what if rumination. And then the fourth kind of step our mind goes through after coming into contact, labeling and ruminating, is it starts to kind of wish away this moment. I wish I wasn't dealing with this right now, essentially, right? It's almost like a feeling of helplessness. Like I don't know what to do. I don't know what decision to make. I don't know what's the right choice. Like, I just wish I didn't have to make this choice. A wish for certainty. Essentially, right? That's what we're wishing. We're wishing that we knew 100% certain this thing was the right thing to do, or our itch would go away, or whatever. It's almost like anxiety is like a window into us, like, realizing the uncertainty of things, and then like feeling very uncomfortable with that. So as we're going through these different steps, the idea of choice is very much a part of them. So let's go back to contact. We come into contact with something, right? This is where almost always we try to solve anxiety. We try to solve worry, right? Let's say I have to go to an event this weekend, and I'm very anxious about it, right? I have this event to go to. I have kind of social anxiety, so my mind labels this event as worrisome, and then I start to go into rumination. Oh, what if I say something that makes me look dumb, and then people laugh at me? And then I go into the wish of, no, just like I wish that I didn't have to even like decide about this thing, right? What is my first instinct, right? Is to sever contact. I just won't go. Right? So contact, this first stage, is very much where we try to triage anxiety. I know what I'll do. I just won't go to the event. And interestingly enough, right? Like it kind of works, right? We feel better. We're not going. Now I don't have to worry about that anymore. But it's like a temporary fix. It's like taking Advil instead of getting the knee surgery that you need. Right? And the reality is that, yes, we cannot go to this event and we may feel better. But there will be another event. Events happen. Are we going to not go to any of them? What does that make our life look like? Is that what we want to do? Is that what the life we want? And so this idea of severing contact presents us as having a very clear choice. Oh, I just won't go. Great. But this is a temporary solution, right? And so if we're not going to try to tackle anxiety at that level, where are we going to look for it, right? So the next step would be us labeling things. Very hard to kind of tackle anxiety at the labeling thing, because it almost feels like we don't have choice in this moment. Like, I did not wake up and was like, I want to be totally terrified of itching. That's what I want to do. I want my mind to be familiar with that. No, I didn't say that. But it happened. And so this stage can be very difficult to kind of triage, because our mind just is really powerful and works fast, right? But this stage is super important in terms of choice, because it's at this stage that things start to become subjective to us, right? Oh, this situation is bad. This situation is good, right? Let's say we'll do the social event. I'm like terrified of going, and then a person next to me is going to the exact same event and they're super stoked. We're going to the same event. It's not like they're going to some sick event, awesome, and I'm going to this like really boring one. We're going to the exact same event, same time, same day, same universe, same everything. I label this as bad. They label it as good. But it's the same event, labeled bad and good. So which is it? Is it bad or is it good? There is no certain answer, right? Social event isn't good or bad. Social event is the mind that you're bringing to it. If my mind labels social event as bad, social event is bad, right? And so something interesting to think about with regards to anxiety and choice, and like when we're having to make a really hard decision, like, is this the right thing to do? Who decides what is right? Who decides that? A lot of people, right? Society, the environment we live in, but ultimately, you decide that. And so this kind of like agonizing over which way to go. And the anxiety and paralysis of choice is almost like it's almost like we're almost like living in a non-reality, right? Because it is up to us. There is no right or wrong. Like there's no distinguished right or wrong inherent choice. It has so much to do with us. And so in this spectrum of contact, label, ruminate, wish away, essentially, right? All of these can be viewed through the lens of uncertainty and choice. Of all of these steps, the one that I think is the best to focus on if you're dealing with anxiety is the rumination stage. We can't avoid coming into contact with things, and if we try to sever contact with everything, like it is temporary relief, and it's not going to actually make the thing better. Labeling is really hard to like catch our mind labeling. We're slow, mind's fast. But the what if stage, the rumination stage, the what if stage, that is something we can work on. Because we know when we're ruminating. We don't always catch it right away. But in hindsight, we're like, oh yeah, I was like kind of really ruminating about that. Right. And so that's the area I think that would be really beneficial to focus on. And it is something where we actually feel like we have power, choice over this. I can choose not to ruminate on this, right? It might take some work, but I can do it. So I want to do another short meditation because I was very long-winded today. And what I want to do is the exact same thing we did the first time, but I want to go into this meditation with 0 labels. There's no doing it right. There's no doing it wrong. There's no good or bad or distracted or not distracted. None of that. We're just going, you and me are going to just sit down and focus on our breath for a little while. That's it. No labels. Cool? All right. Go ahead and close your eyes. Very briefly, you can check in with yourself. We're just noticing what our mind is up to. We don't need to do anything about it. There's no need to wish we were feeling a different way. Whatever you're feeling right now is perfect. Having checked in, we can now make a choice, a promise. This time, the promise that we're making is to focus single-pointedly, exclusively on our own breath to the best of our ability. And to not try to label any of what we're doing here together. For the next few moments, you're just breathing. No goal, no desire, no larger ramifications. Just you existing in this moment, breathing. That is what we're going to focus on. With that in mind, you can turn your full attention to your breath. Breathing in and out gently, naturally. As you just exist here in this moment. Breathing in, breathing out. If you catch your mind getting distracted, no big deal. Doesn't matter. We'll get to those thoughts later. Doesn't mean your meditation is bad or not good, or it doesn't mean anything. We can put those thoughts aside and just return to us, to our breath, to this moment, to existing. Breathing in and out, gently and naturally. When we're meditating, often we are trying to meditate the right way. We have an obsession with doing things the right way. And so we try to craft the perfect conditions. A place that's quiet. But noise does not matter. Noise does not prevent you from meditating. You can meditate anywhere, anyway. There is noise in the world, distractions in our mind. We can just say whatever to those things. You and I are just here breathing in and out. And just bring your attention back to your breath. If ever you get distracted, no need to analyze it. We notice it and we move our attention back to breathing. No debate, no rumination, no analysis. Just you and your breath. In and out, gently and naturally. Okay. And when you are ready, you can open your eyes. Hello, welcome back. Wow. I definitely was doing too much talking today. I apologize. Kept you late here. Okay. That's it. Congrats. You did it. That's today's meditation session. If you had a good time, come back next week. We're going to talk about something else meditation related. If you are super interested in seeing what meditation can do for you, and maybe you're like, you know what, Keith, I'm not really interested in what this topic is, but I really want to learn about, I don't know, being kind to myself. I teach private instruction, like a one-on-one. I do it virtually over Zoom, very laid back. And it's a really good opportunity to focus on something that you want to get out of meditation. So if that's interesting to you, or you think you might be interested in trying it, just email me and we can find a time to get together. My email is keith@meditationbreaks.com. keith@meditationbreaks.com. Spelt correctly, I think. That's my email. Email me if you have any questions as you're meditating on your own, or if you're interested in doing a one-on-one, or you just want to say hi. And lastly, thank you everyone for being here. I love teaching. It brings me a lot of joy each and every week. And so many of you come here each and every week, and it's astounding to me. And I have so much gratitude for all of you, because you are the people that present me with this opportunity to do something that I really enjoy. So thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your day. I look forward to hearing from you. And have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Okay. Take care.